Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel. So in today's video, we are going to build an application that will generate images and based on the text prompt that you will enter. So we are going to use few of the generative AI models. We'll see both OpenAI's model and also the open source model. Like we have few of the open source model like Stable Diffusion. Okay, we'll try to see that which one is generating better images, okay, and which one is easier to use. Okay, so first we'll use the OpenAI service DALL-E to figure it out that how that works, with Python, and how we can integrate that into an Streamlit application. And then we'll also see diffusion model, that if we can use that on GPU or CPU to generate AI based images or the AI based arts. Okay, so before going into the coding and seeing all these options like DALL-E and Stable Diffusion, a very interesting thing that I'd like to share with all of you who are watching this video. So one of my viewers reached out to me, and he has created an application, and image generation application, AI image generation Android app, and he shared that link with me, and he asked me if I can review his application from after downloading and installing it from Play Store, and I have done that. So I would like to review that with all of you together, and if we'll try to take some inspiration from that application, if we can build even 20% of it. Right? Building an production application takes a lot of efforts. Okay, but here we like to see the options that we have, like open source models or the APIs available like Midjourney or DALL-E or Stable Diffusion, of course. Okay, so the whole purpose is to first review that application and then try to create a boilerplate kind of a thing that you can also extend that if you want to extend it for your purpose. So let's dive into it. So you can see I'm currently let me just go back to see. You can see I've casted my device with it, and you can see an application called Dreamai. Okay, and this is the same application that I was talking about earlier, that one of the viewer has shared that with me. Okay, so you can also download it from Play Store. This is the app Dreamai AI art generator. Okay, so I've already installed it. So what I will do, I'll just go into the app. Okay, see, this is the application, a very neat and clean UI. Okay, the first thing what I try to find out if there is a dark theme available for this app. Okay, so if I click on that, you can see that we have some options here. The first is theme, and if I click on that theme, it will make the theme dark, right? And I prefer dark themes over white theme or the regular themes that we have. So we have some other features, like you can review the app. First we have to use, and we have some prompt guide. So if you really want to do good in generative AI, I think prompt is very important. Prompt engineering is something we all want to master it. Okay, and that's how we interact with the generative AI models. Okay, when you do prompt engineering in a good way, you will get a better results. So you also have a prompt guide if you have no idea how to use the prompt to generate some images. Okay, and then we have point system. If you share this application with your friends, you'll get some points. And then we have FAQ. Okay, like right now Dreamai is free. Okay, you can use it without any cost. We have copyrights and attributes and all those details over here. Okay, so this is the interface. Very sleek design, I'll say. You have an input area, and then you have add style option, where you can also add some of the reference examples of images, and then you have a button called Dream in the below section that you see. So, and we have something called no images in gallery. Once you start generating images, I guess your images will be stored here, and you can also wishlist some of the images. You see this heart icon on top. Okay, and then we have some views like in the right hand side top, and then we have something called discover. Okay, where most of the images which has been already generated by different users of this application has been listed it over here. Okay, you see such quality of images. They might be using, I don't know, Midjourney, or that can be any other APIs if they're using, or they have created some models, and I think we can talk about it. So if you come back here on describe the image, we have two options. Either you write it yourself if you want to generate some images, or we have something called need inspiration over here. If you see, I click on that, and the reference or example prompts will be filled, in that text area. Okay, and you can also cut it from here. This is very good, very simple UX, I will say, for this application. Let's try one of the new need inspiration option and try to see what kind of images that we are generating here. So you can see it started, working in the backend based on your text prompt that we have, and it generated an image. And let's see, a love Kaftian painting of a demonic strain, occult, pagan ritual, masked cult. Oh, this is fantastic. Now see the quality of image that we have now got here. And we have, I think, the number of images being generated 3 for this particular prompt. You can see such good quality of images. Okay, now if you ask a guy to create this kind of images, it will take him or her hours to create this kind of images, isn't it? So now let's do one thing. Let's cut this and I will try something. For example, our robot is playing chess with a goat on moon. This is my text. A robot is playing chess with a goat on moon, and let's try that. So I'll just say dream, and again it will take a few seconds to generate, around 8 to 9 seconds that it's showing. And you can see, right, image being generated. Okay, this is not a good prompt, by the way. Okay, you can also add what kind of artist you are looking at. If you have some artist reference, you have some your different style, you need it professional, you need it creative, you need it like in a cartoon ways or cartoonify. You can also select all those options. I just want to validate how it's working. See, we have a goat which is playing chess with robot. Such interesting time to live, right? And in this generative AI we are living in the new normal of generative AI. Okay, you see this image being generated where goat is playing chess with a robot. You see robot sitting on the somewhere on moon and they're playing chess. Fantastic. Now let's come back to this option here. Now you see whatever images that I have generated so far, it's all available here in this kind of an archive or history options. This is an explorer, you see, and you can also, for example, if I click on this and I just hit this heart icon, it will save it, right? And then we have two things. We have recreate. We can also recreate it from here, and we have a get option. Now if I click on the get option, you can see we have some options. Oh, this is some integration also there. Okay, you can also purchase something if you want. Okay, this is fantastic. Now if I do this, okay, which takes to the heart 1, 3, fine. This is basically changing the views of that file explorer. So this is fantastic. Now if I add style here, let's do some need inspiration. This is portrait of Pikachu, epic, tragic, military art. And see, this is how you do prompt engineering when you are trying to generate images with help of generative AI models. Now if I click on something like art, okay, and what is this, Fortnite? Let's digital art or Fortnite, and let's click apply style, dream. Now let's see. So Midjourney's qualities are very good. If you have used Midjourney, if you have ever seen their art. So see, this is what I have received, okay, from the Dreamai application after my prompt that I have entered here, and you are getting this such fantastic quality, the images quality that we have. And if I go back to again here, you'll get to see all those images that we have already generated, and you can again click on that, you can start it, or basically click on that. You can also click on this option. We have 3-4 options here. We have download, we have share, we have discover, we have delete. You can also delete it. Of course I will not do that. What I will do, I will download, and it save that images, okay, the image that I have. And then you can also share with, we have some integration it over here as well. You have share files on WhatsApp or Telegram or wherever you want. So this is the application that was developed by Carlos. I'll share that link in the description, guys. If you want to try this application, please go and try this. This looks fantastic. You see, this is created by somebody. You can also attribute it if you want. This looks great. Very simple UI, no logins. Something right now. You see, So this is the app that Carlos has created. I'd like to thank Carlos. Thank you so much for sharing this link with me, so other viewers can also give it a jab on this application, and we'll try to see if we are getting some feedback on this. I really liked it. Now, how we can build this application? Such kind of models that we have, this generative AI models. Okay, so how, if you want to build this application like an Android app or a web app, or any kind of application, what are the few things that we need? So first we need a generative AI model, okay, that we can interact with. That can be an API, or you can also take an open source model. Okay, you can find a few of the open source model on Hugging Face. So now let's do that. So let me just bring up my monitor here. So what we are going to do, guys, we are going to create a very simple app using two models. One is that OpenAI API, DALL-E. We'll use DALL-E. If you see, I am currently on this image generation. You see this, we have this image generation documentation, which is DALL-E models, learn how to generate or manipulate images. We have image to image inpainting, we have text to image generation, we have a lot of other features, right, in these generative AI models, right? And we'll use this and we'll try to work with these things. Okay, so let me just go back here on this API app.py, and what I will do, I'll create a file called app.py, and here we will start writing our code, and we'll create an Streamlit application. We will have two options, one with the DALL-E and other with this diffusers. If you come on here, you'll see that we have something called Huggingface Diffusers. Okay, so diffusers, kind of, if you read this, it provides pre-trained diffusion models across modalities. Like you have multimodal data, that can be audio, that can be vision, like images, and that can be text. So it's kind of provides these multiple modalities. Okay, diffusers, very easy to run this, but remember that diffusers or Hugging Face models that you see, this kind of model that we have, the generative AI models, are compute heavy, okay, and they're having a terrible carbon footprint as well, and they require high computational power to run these models. So you need a GPU in most of the cases if you want to generate good quality images. In this case, when I'm talking about image generation, and it also for time consuming. So if you're running it on CPU, you might not get even the result. Okay, it might get killed, the thread or the process that you have. Okay, we'll try to use that. So the first thing, now let's do one thing. Let's head back to this app.py and let's start writing the code. So first thing is we need import Streamlit as st, because we are going to create an Streamlit application. Now let's create that Streamlit application. So what we have to do, let's first do st.title, and in st.title I'll call it AI image generation app. Let's call this is my title. Now how do we run this, guys? So I'll come back here on this terminal. I'll go to open in terminal option on an Ubuntu machine, and I'll go inside this venb. You see I have cd venb, and then I have cd bin, and I will activate that virtual environment. Okay, source activate. I'll do a couple of cd dot to go into the main directory, and then I'll just do a clear here. So you can see I've now cleared this terminal. How do I run it? I call it Streamlit run app.py. But before running this application, guys, we need some of the dependencies that we have. We have this libraries that are required to run this application that we are going to create. So first is Streamlit, because we are going to create an Streamlit application. Then we have OpenAI, where we can interact with the OpenAI models like DALL-E or DaVinci 3 or Ada or Babel, any other models of OpenAI that we have. You need this OpenAI library needs to be installed in your virtual environment or your environment. Okay, and then you can interact with those APIs. And then we have python.env to, I have this API key in this env file. You can also need that to load through the os.getenv or loadenv, right? And then we'll use a pre-trained model or from Hugging Face diffusers, and for that there are some dependencies like PyTorch or transformers or some of the other dependencies that I'm using, SciPy and accelerate here. Okay, so you have to do that. So how do you install? You have to do pip3 install if you are on Ubuntu requirements.txt. I'm not going to do that because I already have installed all these required dependencies in this environment. I'll just run this. So how do we run it? So Streamlit run app.py. If you click this, it will open a new tab in the browser, and you can see that we have our title here, AI image generation app. So what we are going to do now is we need an option here in the where we can select that which service or which way you want to generate this image. You want to use the OpenAI service or you want to use the open source model. Okay, so let's first create that. So I'll come back here on app.py. What I'll do, I'll have a variable called choice, and I'll use a sidebar. So in Streamlit, we have sidebar option where you can create a sidebar and you can use these options like drop down or select box, right? So st.sidebar, and then here I will use the select box. You can see that we have labeled options. So in select box, what I'm going to do, I'll do few things. First is select. I'll have this label. Select your choice, and then what I'll do, I have to keep this label option now. Okay, so how do we have? So now, for example, we'll have three things. The first is home. The second is let's keep that DALL-E, and the third will be let's call it diffusers for now. So third is diffusers. So these are the options that we have in that sidebar. Okay. So now let's go back to the browser and I will just do a rerun. You see that we have a sidebar now. Okay, and this is so simple when you work with Streamlit, to do a fast prototyping, or if you want to test some models, okay, rapidly. You can just pull Streamlit documentation, you can work with it. You can see that we have three options now. We have home, we have DALL-E, we have diffusers. Now what if I click on DALL-E? Okay, so it's kind of being the same thing. Let's do one thing. Let's bring this title option here, Control C, and I'll use this if choice equals home, the first choice, then this will work. st.title image generator app. Now if I click on this again on the rerun option on browser, you will see that when I have selected DALL-E or diffuser, this will not come. So when I click on home, I only want it AI image generation up when I'm clicking on home. Now let's quickly do this. So we have if, now let's call it else if choice equals DALL-E, I'll call it st.subheader, and here I'll say image generation using DALL-E. And similarly, what I'm going to do, else if choice diffuser image generation using diffusers. Let's call it Huggingface Diffusers. So now if I click on the rerun again here on the browser, now if I click on DALL-E, you'll see that we are getting image generation using DALL-E and diffusers, image generation using Huggingface Diffuser. Okay. So for home, what we can also do, let's add some details here. So I will use this option called expander. I will use Streamlit's expander. So I'm going to do with st.expander, and here I'm going to call it about the app, and I'll use this here in st.write. This app is a tool to generate images using DALL-E and Huggingface Diffuser. This is what as a little info about the application, to look little nice. So you can see now we have an expander over here, and click on this about that. You can read it about it. This app is a tool to generate images using DALL-E and Huggingface Diffusers. Good. So this is for home page. You can add your photos. You can make this fancy as well. You can do a lot of things with Streamlit. Okay. You can add some banners. You can add logos. You can also add login authentication if you want. Okay. You can go through the Streamlit documentation, okay, to perform those tasks. So now let's go inside this DALL-E and start writing it. So what I will do, I'll first create an input box. So how do we do that? So let me first create a variable here. I'll call it input text, which will be a text input. I'll call it st.text input, because we need a text input to get the text prompt from the end user, like you just saw in the Dreamai Android application that Carlos has created, that I was showing you. There is a text area, right? So for this case, we can also do that. So what I'm going to do, I'll call it, hey, enter your text. This is my text input, and now we have to create a button where we'll have that, generate images or generate image. But let's first also put a condition there. We first have, let's find out the value, if there is a value inside that, in that input text variable that we have created. So if I'm going to call it input text is not none, and then inside this condition I will create my button. Okay, so if the button will be if st.button, and if st.button equals generate image, and here I will just do pass for now. Okay, so now if I come back to VS Code, the browser, you can see now this image generation using DALL-E. We have an option called enter your text, where you can add the text, okay, and generate image. Okay, so generate image, right? So we can also do one thing. Okay, let's now do, if st.button generate image, the first thing will be, let's do info message that, okay, this is your text that you have, input text. Let's print that input text in a status message. Okay, now let's see if we are able to run this. Dog is eating pizza on the moon. So you can click that, right? You see that we have this statement as or the sentence as a text input, right? And now this is the prompt that we have, and on this prompt we'd like to generate the image, right? And let's use that. So what we have to do, guys, first we have to come over here and we have to import all these required libraries here now. So first thing is, let's import OS, and then we also have to import from .env import load .env, right? So this is done. So now we have OS, we have from .env import load.env. Now we also have to import openai for now, because we have to interact with that DALL-E API, right? So first load.env, we have initiated this load.env, right, where we can use this env file. Now we have to do openai dot API key equals os.getEnv, and when I do that os.getEnv, here will be this key, and this key is nothing but the constant that you have kept inside this env file, the API key. So my name is the variable name openai underscore API underscore key. This is not a variable in that case. This is a constant, because we are not going to change the value there. Okay, so this is the one time that you have kept it inside an env file. So this is how you load the API key in this this file app.py. Now we have the API key loaded inside this app.py. We have to write a function where we can interact with DALL-E, and then we generate the image. So let me just write it over here. So I'm just writing it, function to generate an image using DALL-E. Yeah, let's do that. So DALL-E, and now here I'll write the function. So first is def generate image, and I'll call it, let's call it using openai, and this will be my input text. That's correct. And now here I will start writing the code. Okay, you can see that I'm getting this response by tab 9. Tab 9 is the auto completion plugin in VS Code. Like we have GitHub Copilot, we have Kite, and a lot of others as well. So it's suggesting me, but this is completely wrong. That's why we we should not completely rely on AI based code completion solutions. This is not for DALL-E. This is basically for DaVinci 3, right? That it's showing you, or any other text model that we have, right? So you see, define generate image using openai. Now what we have to do, the first thing is response, the variable, and in this response we not have openai.completion.create, we'll have openai.image.create. So openai.image, and here I will have dot create. This is what we have for DALL-E. I'll hit the enter here, guys, and then here I will start writing the code now. So you see this, we have engine, we have prompt, temperature, right? So let's do prompt. The first thing is prompt, and my prompt will be nothing but the input text. This is the prompt. I don't know why it's got selected input underscore text. This is the input text. I will hit a comma here, and I have the prompt. Now how many images that I want? So for now let's keep it n equals 1, and then the size of the image. Okay, what should be the size of image? So for now I'll call it 512 cross 512. This will be the image size, and this is a response that I created, that you have initiated this inside OpenAI with this openai.image.create. Now what you have to do, let's call it image URL because it will return you an URL there. So what I'm going to do, image URL response. Okay, now in response we'll not have this, we'll have a data, and in data then we'll have 0, the first one, and then this is basically the index, and then the URL of it, and then I will just return this, return image URL. So this is basically the function to interact with DALL-E, and you have some prompt, you have size of the image that you need, and then you are returning the image URL, right? This is a very simple function that we have created. Okay, so first what we are doing, let me just walk you through. So we have this, we have imported all the libraries which are required, then we have set this API key through that env file, and then we are generating this image, define generate image using OpenAI function that we have created, where we are using this openai.image.create method, and we have some parameters. Then we have a variable where we are storing our image URL, and we are returning that image URL. And then we have created some of the Streamlit capabilities, like we have this sidebar, then we have some options to select, and then in this DALL-E we'll start writing our code. Okay, so sorry, why did I remove that? So info, now what I will do, I'll just use that function. You can see it's suggesting me, I'll just use it. So image URL, and then st.image. So you see this image URL that we have, I'm using this function generate underscore image underscore using underscore OpenAI over here. I'm passing this input text variable, and here I'm getting st.image image URL. So this is the first way that we can generate images, okay, using APIs. Now that can be any APIs. It can be DALL-E's APIs, or it can be Stable Diffusion API. We have Replicate. You can go you can figure it out if there are models on Replicate that you can utilize their APIs, like Stable Diffusion, one of them. Okay. Then we have Midjourney. You can also use Midjourney, right? Then we have Dream Booth. A lot of other that we can use it from Stability AI, who have created that Stable Diffusion model. You can also use their APIs to interact with. So now let's do one thing. Now let's go back to this file. I will rerun. I'll just hit this generate image. Wow. So you see this image being generated, right? A dog is eating pizza on the moon. You can see that we have received this, right, using DALL-E. So what we can also do, guys, let me just do one thing. We have this st.image. I don't know if we can use this caption parameter. Okay, we can use it. Let's call it image generated using DALL-E, and I will save it, and I will come back over here. Let's change this prompt. I will call it an astronaut. This is a very famous prompt. You might have been seeing a lot lately. An astronaut riding a horse on the moon. You can see this is my input prompt. There is a space in between. Okay. Anyway, let's see if DALL-E can figure it out. Okay. Perfect. So see, this is more of a you are getting in a cartoon way, right? You can also change that prompt, right? You can also get it in a different way. So this is one way of doing it. Okay, let me just also see an astronaut riding a horse on the moon. Okay, and let's call it cartoon style. Let's see if we are getting some other images this time. Okay, so what I have done, I have kept the same prompt, but I've just changed a bit in the last, cartoon style. So you can see, I think this is giving you more of a cartoon style of an image, an astronaut riding a horse on the moon, right? So once we use Dream AI application, right, that I was showing you earlier. Now let me just get back to that. Okay, and if I can show you to over here. Okay, let me just write that same thing, an astronaut riding a horse on the moon. And now let's do one thing. Let me remove this add style option. I don't want to use that. Okay, and I will just click on dream. Now let's see what kind of image that we are getting. So if you see in this case, I'll just talk about it in bit. In Streamlit application that we have created, an astronaut riding a horse on the moon. Let me just click. You can see this image, and here we got our image in a cartoon style, right? And that we have created using DALL-E. If you see this, we are also getting a very good quality image over here. This is fantastic. So, but here we are using their APIs. The question will arise, right? That if we can use any open source model, of course you can use any open source model as well. So if you do not have the API first, let me show you how you can get an API. So you have to go to this OpenAI platform and you have to take one of the API keys from here, and then you can go back to their documentation and read about all this in features that they have. They have image to image imprinting, and they have a lot of other things. You can also handle memory, and you can also keep reference and other features. So this is one way of doing it. Okay, what next? How we can use this open source model? So if you come back over here on diffusers, we have this this library diffusers, where you can use the stable diffusions model. If you come over here, you see this. We have from diffusers import stable diffusion the pipeline, and we have these features over here. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let me go back to my Colab. So you can see I'm on my Colab here. Okay, I'll just do a reconnect. Okay, so as it requires GPU. Okay, let's first see if we are able to get the response over here. Okay, so what I will do, I'll let it connect. You first have to install accordingly. Like we need diffusers, we need, if you are getting issues with the transformers, when you are installing it in your local machine, it's giving you error. It might be a good idea to install sentence piece before transformer. Okay, if you are getting any error in transformer. So let me just install it quickly. So you can see I'm installing it over here. The first thing is pip install upgrade diffusers. It will install, and then I have sentence piece. I will install it, and you can see you have to install sentence piece before transformers. If you are getting error even after installing transformer, if it's giving you error like no transformers found or something, right? You can also do that. So it takes a little time because it's too heavy to install and use. Okay. If you can completely do it offline as well, where you don't require any internet connectivity. You can download this stable diffusion folder from Hugging Face. You can see that we are using this repository called Runway ML. If you want to download the entire folder and keep it offline, you can also do that, but you require high computational power. You need this GPU, the good qualities NVIDIA GPU to do that. So let me just again do the pip install transformers. And you can see what I'm doing here. I'm using first importing torch, and then we are getting this stable diffusion pipeline from the diffusers library that I was showing you from the GitHub. And then I'm using a pipe variable where I'm loading this pre-trained. Okay, and then we have this pipe equals to pipe.toCUDA. If you have GPU enabled, I'm using the Google's Colab free GPU. You have to use this option pipe.toCUDA. You're piping it to CUDA. If you do not have GPU, please hash this. Okay, and I will use the same thing. Now let's run this. So once you run this, it will start first downloading all the model weights and all the tokenizers and required files. Okay, and it's too big. It's around 10 to 12 GBs of size. Okay, so what I will do meanwhile, let me start writing the function. We'll try to run it offline because I have a GPU in my system. So let's create the function over here. So let me first write the function. So define generate image using a diffusers. So even on GPU, guys, it takes around, depends what kind of GPU that we have. I don't have that powerful GPU, excuse me. Even on GPU, it takes around 2 to 4 minutes to generate an image. Okay, so this is the input text, and now we don't have to use this response and all those things. What we have to do, we have to first let's take the code right from here. Okay, so let me come back and first use this couple of lines that we have, import torch and all those things, and I'll just put it over here. You can see, and now I'll start writing the function inside this. Okay, let me just separate it. So I'll call it Streamlit code, and here I will start writing the code. And yes, so let me just take the couple of code snippets from here. I'll just have this pipe, and yeah, So this pipe dot tokuda, and in below section I'll use this. So I'll not have the prompt, by the way. I'll use the prompt from the Streamlit text input and image. Let's change this to prompt to input text. So call it input text, and I'll just return that image over here. Okay, return image. Now we can do the same thing over here. So let me come down, and we have this option else if, and here I start writing input text, sc.text input. If input text is not none, you can see if I should generate image, this looks fine. This is okay, perfect. So we'll run this in a bit. Let's first see what's happening on Colab. So if I head back to Colab, guys, I'll just run this image. See, perfect, right? Very good response as well from diffuser, the stable diffuser pipeline that we are using. So this is, in this case, we are using an open source model that you can completely use it offline. You can run the entire code offline using this model. You have to download this folder from Huggingface Diffusers, and you can also do that. So what you have to do, you have to first do a git lfs install if you don't have lfs, and then you have to pull this repository. If you come over here on GitHub, you can see it says running the model locally. You can run the model locally. You have to first do git lfs install and then git clone, okay, this particular repository that we have, and then you can just remove the runway ml, the repo, and just pass your local directory path, okay, and you can use it completely offline, but you need high computational power for that. So what I will do, guys, okay, let me first do one thing. Let me go back to this my Streamlit application where we have generated this using DALL-E. Now let's go back to this diffusers. So diffusers is if I am just removing this, and after not riding a horse on the moon, not cartoon style, the same prompt. Now once I hit the generate image, guys, it will take around a minute. So let me do one thing. What I will do, I will pause the video here and I will come back when the image is being generated. Okay. So you can see finally we have got our image over here, an astronaut riding a horse on the moon. Okay, you can see that the image that we have got, and we also have a caption, image generated using Huggingface Diffusers. So this is we have got using Huggingface Diffusers. We are not using any API over here like we used in this option. If you click DALL-E from here, that we have taken the API from this OpenAI platform and we generated. In this case, what we have done in diffusers, we have used Huggingface Diffusers to perform this task, to generate images, right? Now this is a very simple way of generating images. Now creating an application like Dreamai that I just shown you over here, if you come back on the cast, like this image that we have, it takes a lot of effort. Like Carlos have put that effort. You need a database connection, you need a server, you need this UI UX expertise, you need this Flutter expertise or Java expertise if you are developing this as a mobile application. There are a lot of effort goes inside, goes into it. Okay, so if you have to create this, if you want to test these models, you can use Streamlit, you can use this open source models like Huggingface. You can also do state handling, memory management, a lot of other things to make it a little faster. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show in this video, guys, that how you can generate AI based images or AI generated images that we have. We are living in this new normal of generative AI, right, where we have multimodal models, or we have this chat GPT, which is a where you have this text to text model that we have. Then we have chat sonic, then we have stable diffusion, mid journey, lot of other generative AI models. Like we're also getting music LM now, okay, where we'll get music generation as well. So what I will do, I will share that Dreamai app link in the description. You can also find this code on this. If you come back over here on this AI image generation Streamlit app, you can find it, all the codes here that we have already written to create this application. You can find it on the GitHub repository of AI Anytime. I'll also share the link of this Huggingface Diffusers and this OpenAI DALL-E API that we are using. Okay, so this is not a DALL-E API, this is OpenAI APIs, and we are using one of their models called DALL-E models. Okay, that API will work same, and we are using their other models like text models that we have DaVinci or Babbage or QD or any other model. So guys, if you, and also share that collab link with you. Okay, that we just tested it out. So guys, if you like this video, or if you like the content that I am creating, please like this video and do subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Share the channel with your friends and to peer. Okay, if you have any suggestions, if you have thoughts or feedback, please reach out to me, or drop your thoughts or feedback in the comment box. So this is what we have in this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next video.